my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here then welcome to my channel, and today's video is going to be my February 2026 reading wrap up. And yeah, like the title says, this is pretty much all audiobooks this month, with the exception of the manga chapters I read every month. But yeah, we have Valentine's Day, we have Black History Month, and I have a very large crochet blanket that I've been working on, hence all of the audiobooks. So with that, I will have the content warnings I can find linked down below in the description, along with links to some resources, and let's go ahead and get into it. Starting off with Everyone Who Is Gone Is Here by Jonathan Blitzer. This weaves the stories of people from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras who have been devastated by American political conflict, corruption, and violence when it comes to the US's immigration policy. It lays out how we got to where we are today as of around 2024 when this book released. This had a lot of information in it, like a lot. It is an 18-hour audiobook, and I thought that it was a good mix of like history book level facts and also storytelling. You really do feel the effects of America's immigration policy and just like the awful normalization of it, while hearing and learning about how we got here, which was what I was looking for from this audiobook, and it did it. And next up is Even Though I Knew the End by C.L. Polk. And this follows our main character who sold her soul to save her brother's life. She is offered one final job before she suffers an eternity in hell, but after she turns that down, she is then offered a chance for a future with the woman that she loves. This is one that I do have some mixed feelings about because I was into the story itself. I liked a lot of aspects of this, and I think that they did a lot of cool things, and there was a turn in the story that I really liked too. All of those cool things and things that I liked just never fully came together into like one cohesive unit for me. Like, I like the setting, I like the fantasy and the mystery, but they never fully came together for me, like along with the time period or just tone of the book. And this book was also so short that I feel like while I liked the characters, they did feel kind of surface level to me, and kind of same with the romance, but not as much, because I am more positive about the romance aspect of this and just the characters individually. So overall, I feel like I was on the verge of really liking this, but we just never fully got there, but I also didn't dislike it either, so I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Next up is A Mouthful of Dust by Nevo, and this is novella number 6 in the Singing Hills cycle, and it follows Cleric Chi and their companion Almost Brilliant when they arrive at a river town to record the stories of the legendary famine that took place there. So I've had some mixed feelings about this series as a whole, but the ones that I have liked, I have really loved, and I am very happy to say that this is now 2 in a row that I've really loved. This one had a focus on starvation and cannibalism that I thought was super dark and interesting. I'm also a Yellow Jackets fan, so I kind of knew that was going to be something that I was going to be able to get invested in going into this, and I was. I loved all of the mystery and storytelling and just hearing everything unfold. And there's also a lot of magic and fantasy here as well, and also like lore drops that made me want more, both in a way that I was like, oh, I hope this shows up later, and in a way that I thought really just expanded upon the world and the series as a whole, and I would just love to see more of it. This is another one from the series that I do just kind of wish was like a little bit longer to just fully expand upon things a little bit more. I kind of just wanted to spend more time with this one than I really got to, so that I could sit with the mystery and the suspense and the characters and just like the darkness more. But I love this one just as much as I love The Brides of High Hill and When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain, so it's going to get the same rating that I gave to those two, which is a 4.25 out of 5 stars. Next up, we have Ring Shout by P. Jelly Clark. This takes place in 1915 after the birth of a nation spreads across America, increasing the ranks of the clan, who ride across the nation spreading fear and violence with a plan to bring hell to earth. But standing in their way is a group of resistance fighters who hunt their hunters and send the clan's demons to hell. And as the war heats up, our main character has to stop the clan before it ends the entire world. I would love to watch a movie based on this, and I would love that for multiple reasons. The first is because I enjoyed the action scenes and the characters, and despite the topics and the setting here, there were some really fun moments. Like, I loved hearing about them fighting back. But yeah, there is a lot of disgusting ugliness that comes along with this time period and setting, which is also why the action scenes and like the fighting back aspect of this hit really hard as well. The second reason why I would like to watch a movie adaptation of this is because while I like the blend of like this apocalyptic fantasy and the horror, I never fully got a solid grasp of it, and I think just seeing it in an adaptation would bring it all together for me. And I do think that this book could have expanded upon the magic system and like the fantasy horror more, but for the most part, I had a really great time here, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Next up is This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan, and this is book 2 of the Skyland series, and it follows Soledad Barnes, who has her entire life all planned out. However, that all changes when the man who is supposed to love her forever betrays her, and now she has to focus on keeping a roof over her daughter's heads and making sure that there is food on the table. But she also ends up rediscovering herself in the process, and when an unlikely man enters the picture, the man that she shouldn't want, she refuses to repeat her past mistakes and has to decide whether to trust him and herself after all she's lost and all that she's found. I read before I Let Go last year around Valentine's Day, and based on how much I liked that book, I knew I wanted to listen to the rest of this series, and I actually loved this one even more. The beginning of this book is like watching a reality show, and it just really hooked me into the story and the characters. And I loved our main characters so much individually, and I loved them together as well. And I also loved the way that this book got them together and how it combined with Soledad's own personal journey, which loved that too. They also have such sweet dynamics with their children. Like, some of the most emotion that I felt while listening to this audiobook were during the family moments. Not even just with their children, but also just like with the other family members around them. And also not physically around them as well, because I also really loved how this book talked about and explored grief. And everything came together so perfectly for me here, and it feels like so much happened throughout this audiobook, but I have no complaints about the pacing at all. And I always look forward to turning this on, and it would just fully take over my brain whenever it happened. And I was just so invested in the entire thing, and sometimes all I can really say is that it was a good book, and this was such a good book. I gave it 5 stars, and I am so excited for the rest of the series. And now moving away from audiobooks and into manga, we have part 1 of Kagurabachi by Takeru Hokazono. And this follows our main character Chihiro, who is the son of a renowned swordsmith, when he sets out on a journey with the last of his father's magical swords on a quest for revenge against a villainous group. So part 1 of this series is done. This is one that I've been reading since like almost from the beginning, and I think it's a really fun dark fantasy series with a really cool dark fantasy art style. I think they have some really great action scenes. Part 1 has a lot of twists and reveals that I got really into and invested in, because when I'm invested in this series, it is one of my favorite series that I'm reading, and I'm reading a lot of really good things. But when I wasn't invested in this series, I would just keep forgetting who the characters were and where the story itself was at, which is much less fun. And yeah, I do think that I am going to have to do a reread of part 1 at some point, because I do think reading like all of the chapters in a shorter period of time may work better for me here, because there is some really amazing stuff in here for sure. I do really like this series. I'm really looking forward to the next arc. This previous arc felt super big and impactful for the rest of the series, and I'm curious to see what else this has in store. Okay, so it is now time for the other manga series that I am caught up to and reading as they update over on the Shonen Jump and K-Manga apps. Starting off with chapter 160 of Gachiakuda, chapter 177 of The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, chapter 32 of Galaxias, and chapters 205 to 207 of Windbreaker. And as always with K-Manga, I am only as caught up to these series as I can be without using points to unlock the chapters, as I am currently saving my points for another series right now. And over on Shonen Jump, we have chapters 228 to 231 of Blue Box, chapters 192 to 195 of Akane Banashi, chapters 110 to 112.1 of Kagurabachi, and chapters 68 to 71 of Ichi the Witch. And my favorite set of chapters from all the series that I just named came from Blue Box, who wrapped up a storyline that has been very frustrating to me personally, and is now seemingly getting back on the path that I wanted them to take before they derailed it with that storyline. There were also some really big moments for one of my favorite side couples, and I am super happy about that. And our main couple had some really good moments as well. I'm also usually just always going to love reading about amusement park dates, and these chapters were a lot of that, and also just a lot of fun and really cute. So that is all that I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question that'll be around here if you want to do that, and hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye!